YouTubers being able to interview with each other, and the match before having two awesome players, two well-known friends, being able to play against each other. Unfortunately, you'd like to play against another opponent, maybe play against a friend in the finals, but alas, it was not meant to be. So we're on to round 4, and having two other competitors here as well at the table. We have Guillaume from France.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Oh, fine.
Okay, so you winning your nationals, winning the UDS, topping Utrecht as well too. What has been the experience like for you for this year and last season?
Okay. So in the last year after Milan, because I didn't top in Milan, I didn't want to go the world points. So this year I will try to do it. So make the maximum of tops in YCS.
Okay, so then more or less trying to get your world's race points from another angle. Big brain. I like that. So take a seat. And then, from the red corner, big boy himself, Dirk. How you doing, man?
Oh, so far so good.
So how was your first few rounds? Did you have fun? Did you enjoy yourself a bit?
I absolutely enjoyed the last rounds. I had quite nice opponents, and I enjoyed the tournament so far. So.
Okay, so then you see, your opponent across from you. You're accustomed of being actually standing above the table, watching them, because a few of you guys don't know this, but this awesome dude right here is also a judge for most of our events. What's it like being on the table playing?
It's really nice to see the other perspective. If you're judging most of the time, you can now enjoy being the player and know what to take care about, to make the life for the judges as easy as possible. So it's both to see both sides.
Okay then, thank you, Dirk. You can also take a seat. Well, we're going to be rolling a dice to see who goes first. So a 4 has been rolled. And a 9. So who goes first? Okay, so Dirk goes first. So the players are ready. If you're ready, then let's get on with the show. And we'll be heading off to the caster's booth.
Thank you a lot, Jonathan. Here we are. Finally, I'm making my first appearance here as well. I'm Sebastian Lemke. I am joined by Tom Payne. And we have a really cool feature match lined up for you guys. So everybody can be quite happy. We're going to see some spice in there. We're going to have a pretty cool deck facing a rather regular deck, but still a very good matchup all in all, I think.
I think that's the way you like it, because if you have like a cool deck against a normal deck, then you get to see kind of what the cool deck's really doing. Because if you see like two wacky decks, you're like, I don't really have a reference point to understand what this deck's doing.
And the players don't even really know what to do against a rogue deck either, because they tested their deck versus a meta deck, and then it's just like, we both do our strategy, nuts. But how do we do versus a rogue deck all of a sudden then? So yeah, that kind of makes it uncool from time to time, but
it's more fun as well, because you sometimes you get a real satisfaction if you see someone with a rogue strategy beating the meta strategy.
Yeah. It feels like
you don't know who to root for if there's two really cool decks.
David beats Goliath, yeah. And if it's David versus David, who can you root for actually? So everybody hopefully is hyped for the featured match. I think we should get over to the table. Let's duel, guys.
So
there we are.
The players have both got their headphones in. We can talk about what the decks are.
And it's interesting to see who's actually going first here.
Yeah, because, I mean, JJ said, like, let's roll to decide who starts.
Yeah.
But I get the feeling... I'm quite surprised to see Dirk starting, actually. I think because he's main decking Pancratops.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think Maron actually wants to go second as well.
Yeah.
So Maron might have actually won the die roll and let Dirk go first.
That was what I thought was going to happen. But JJ said Dirk won the dice roll. But maybe he just reported that wrong.
Probably.
Because from the looks of both of their deck lists, they want to go second. Yeah. Dirk running the Gren Maju deck. I don't really know if it's deck
only
so
a
much
three-card
as
engine, right?
It's like a variety of cards put together, which I suppose makes a deck, but it doesn't really have an engine in the same way that other decks do. It just does lots of different things that all have the aim of OTKing your opponent.
Yeah, actually other engines are bigger in the deck than the Gren Maju engine if you want. For example, the Golden Castle engine.
It's so cool to see Golden Castle being actually played as well.
Yeah, it's like an anime card that finally made its way into the actual Yu-Gi-Oh game, into the meta game.
And it's got like the sneakiest card text because it's got a lot of card text and it has one effect which you might not read because everyone probably knows the key effect, which is special summon a monster from your deck.
Yes.
And then it has this other effect where, as long as it's there, you basically can't attack because your monster just dies.
yeah, that's what everybody is forgetting about with this card. You're like just attacking when Golden Castle is on there because you didn't carefully read the card. You were like, okay, yeah, you get your Hexed Shooter out, fine, cool. But then you attack and your opponent says, yeah, but I will just activate the effect of Golden Castle. So your monster dies. You lose half of the attack points of the attacking monster as well. So you're in a pretty big disadvantage if you didn't get that.
Yeah, so let's have a look at the Hexed Shooter because honestly, it's not a card I've seen a lot.
It's just an easy removal, but that was it. There was no interruption from Guillaume's side, but Dirk totally uncomfortable with going first, it seems like, because he only got Hexed Shooter out and the Golden Castle of Stromberg, so attacking does not seem too valuable for Guillaume.
No, well, he's got that mine face up already. He slammed that down pretty fast.
So he does not even want to attack, I guess.
He's probably more than happy, because obviously with the mine you're sometimes willing to let your opponent deck out. And your opponent's going to deck out very, very, very fast if they have to banish 10 cards for their desires, 10 cards.
Look at Guillaume actually helping Dirk's strategies there. He's activating the desires, so he wants to boost the Gren Maju. Little does he know, but I guess Guillaume already knows what Dirk is telling because there's no real other deck playing Hexed Shooter and Golden Castle of Stromberg at the moment other than...
Well, yeah, I mean, you could make a Golden Castle deck, but it looks like he foolish the Gizmek.
Oh, yeah,
looks
right.
very much like the Gren deck.
Yeah, but I think on Dirk's side, he's kind of happy to see Sky Strikers there because the only thing he really would have to fear at the moment is being OTK'd because in the next turn, he's kind of likely to OTK.
Well, not unless he can pick up an answer to the mine.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, he's not really happy to see mine. I would agree on that, definitely.
Mine's not something you'd think you'd have to deal with in this deck because you always go second and you just try and OTK them.
Yeah, that's true.
But he's being made to go first. But
there's so many going second decks in the metagame at the moment, it feels like.
Yeah?
There were like a few weeks ago, I think like the Orcus variants started to go second.
Yeah.
Exactly, and also like Pendulum can go second a lot, and it was really the Gren Maju deck as well, of course, and Sky Striker also goes second a lot of the time.
It's happy to, and I think
definitely
Guillaume looks like he wants to because he's maining the Dino Wrestlers and the
mine obviously
world
as well,
and the mine. So I think
even maining the world. Oh,
yeah,
cool.
He's maining the Dino Wrestler world as an extra target to send off Foolish Burial Goods.
That's pretty good, yeah.
I don't know if there are many outs in the deck of Dirk to the Mystic Mine.
Not really. Does he have any in his main deck?
I would even go as far as to say there are none.
There are none?
Unless some of the monsters do anything that I don't know of.
But the monster effects are kind
monster
of bad
effects you can't often use against mine.
When you have mine, yeah.
Dark Hole would be an out, but instead he's running Raigeki. Obviously he didn't practice for this enough, being made to go first by Sky Striker.
That is actually true. Does he probably side decks Dark Ruler no more? It's a pretty cool combination with the Raigeki, obviously, because it can just easily break combo boards. It can even break Thunderbirds. Thunderboards.
Breaks every board.
Yeah, just a cool two-card combo. Like similar to Amano Iwato plus Raigeki, you can just go Dark Ruler no more Raigeki, and what can your opponent do? He cannot even respond to the activation of Dark Ruler no more with all the monster effects.
So I'm sort of interested as to what Dirk's plan is, because he's just trusting in Guillaume to let him off.
At some point, he will have to get rid of the mine.
No.
I mean,
Dirk is going to deck out in like 2 turns.
Did he already resolve double desires?
No, he used desires, and the Golden Castle has another effect.
Oh, right. We did not mention this one yet.
It has many, many, many different effects.
Of course. In every standby phase, you have a desire without drawing, which is not too cool. And then he just passed. But maybe Dirk just wants to keep the feeling alive in the mind of Guillaume that he has main decked outs to the card, and he has a lot of outs to that actually.
They're going to go pretty fast though, because you have to manage
10
cards a turn.
Look at that.
Does he have 10 left?
He's counting, he's counting.
10? Yeah, he does. How many cards does he run? 40.
It's 40, exactly.
And he's banished 30 face down already.
What the heck is that?
I don't know.
Is that his strategy?
Does the Golden Castle just destroy itself?
That's a good question, actually. As soon as it's not a cost to banish in standby phase, it's just part of the effect. So if you cannot do it anymore, it probably will just not do it and like stay on the field.
Yeah, I honestly do not know.
Should probably be the way to go.
Once per turn, you must banish. This is not optional. Or this card is destroyed. Okay.
Oh, it's destroyed. Okay. Cool.
I like that it's very clarified on the text.
Yeah.
You must banish, and also it's not optional.
Yeah,
so you must, and it's not optional. It's very clear.
You cannot really do anything wrong about that. Seems like you're having a lot of Mystic Mine feature matches today. Your first one already.
Let's see if any monsters have played in some of my next ones.
You will have a few more chances for that.
Maybe it's going to be mines all day.
Look at these two Gren Majus in the hand of Dirk, just
you
eagerly waiting.
They will have a lot of attack.
Just for flexing a little.
Just to be like, look, I have this, like...
I mean, how much attack point is that even? Because there are 40 banished cards at the moment at least.
There's at least 40, yeah. So that's, what? I don't even know. What is it? Is it 400 per? Yeah. 400 times 40? So that's 16,000. Yeah, that'll do. Well, it won't, because, 16,000 versus one Mystic Mine. Choose your winner.
Definitely, yeah. Okay, so let's see. He's still counting, so, okay. Seems like he cannot banish anymore. Makes sense if he's playing exactly 40 cards and already has 30 in the banish pile. And, oh, look, he's now setting the Raigeki. It's really just about being a mind game at the moment. And Guillaume does not seem to be too worried. As he said, he just sits back. He does not even try to summon a monster. And
why would you?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you could at some point go into like Hayate plays.
Oh, he's doing it.
Look at it. There he goes.
Maybe he's going to do some. Maybe he thinks he has
enough
damage.
resources. That seems kind of unlikely for a Sky Striker deck. I mean, he can use the Hexatrude, of course.
He can take his monster.
That's what he's doing. Oh, that's interesting though. I think he would have had to chain something to that, because that cannot be enough damage there.
He might have quite a big Kagari, but he's used Kagari, right?
You can look through the graveyard. Yeah, Kagari is in the graveyard apparently.
Maybe he's just going to... He's already taken 1,500, so I think maybe the life points on the stream aren't correct.
Yeah, you could be right about that.
Oh no.
Because otherwise it would be really a risky move. I saw another mine being in the hand of Guillaume.
Yeah.
So
maybe he's just going to do some damage.
To just activate it.
And send out multi-roll.
And he just gives back the monster in the end phase. Okay, so...
all around pretty safe.
You don't have to worry about anything.
It's kind of like a burn deck, Sky Striker
Mystic
burn.
Mine Burn, Sky Striker.
So it just gives it back. And in end phase, at the point when Hexatrude is halfway between, both players have half a monster and then Mine destroys itself.
That would be cool. But that makes Mind Striker so viable that that's not the case. You can actually just give the monster back over to your opponent and you have no monsters left, so Mind does not destroy. I mean, the monster is on any side at some point, so there will be no confusion. But oh, look at him. He has triple Gren Maju de Acer in his hand now. His boss monster of the deck. Now you could really call it a Gren Maju deck if you have 3 of it in the hand.
Just set it. Just see if he pokes into it and takes...
takes a bazillion points of damage.
I think maybe Guillaume will be more heads up than that. You never know.
That would be so funny. Let's just test the waters with a ray, maybe. Let's see what that is. Yeah, as JJ introduced, Guillaume, a very, very accomplished player, actually.
Yeah.
The French national champion, also multiple YCS tops. French players are rising. A lot of very, very good French players lately.
Yeah, we had the Samir and Gabriel.
Yeah, both making finals of the European Championship. France really second most represented nation in the tournament as well. So they're really keeping the pace up. They really want to be the top nation at some point.
Yeah, maybe they'll overtake the Germans, huh?
Yeah, at some point that's possible. I mean, they had the biggest national championship in 2018, so I think they already got us there.
That was a bit of a shock.
Yeah, it was, for sure. But if you see the YCS numbers with all the French players, you kind of get the point that why that is coming from and where that is coming from.
Definitely.
a lot of people traveling.
I'm sort of interested about what Dirk's plan is still. I mean, maybe again he's just waiting and seeing. But I think Guillaume, he can see that there's like 3 cards left in the deck or something.
Yeah.
So I think I was incorrect. There hasn't actually been a Pot of Desires, so he's only banished 20 face down. So that means he's still got like 5 cards left in his deck or something.
Cool. That's a lot to work with.
The games have lasted like quite a few turns, which is more than I'm accustomed to. Like, normal games, like Yu-Gi-Oh! Now, there's like 5 turns. This is like about the max. That's quite a long game.
It nearly feels like a grind game, but it's not a lot of grinding going on there.
This is what mine does, because the turns are all so short. Because no one can do any monster effects.
Yeah, that's true.
There aren't yet. I mean, Sky Strike is the closest deck so far to a deck where you just play spell cards.
Yeah. I saw a lot of people actually trying to go just triple away and 37 spells before the event, just Sky Striker Turbo, just having all the spells. What do you like about the decision of Dirk not running Twin Twister or any out to back row in the main deck, because he's going second?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, realistically, he's because again, this is not normal for him, because he's not expecting to have to deal with a mine.
True.
So it's probably fair enough, because again, like your opponent, you have to think what back row you're going to be afraid of.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the meta game, he probably is expecting a lot of Orcust, Thunder Dragon, and maybe some Sky Striker.
And Sky Striker, like, you could have Twin Twisters, but it's okay. It's okay.
At some point, it really doesn't matter if you have enough damage, and you can just still OTK through Shizuku or whatever. So he doesn't really have to care about that. And I mean, having Twin Twister versus the Orcust counter trap really isn't too favorable either, because you just have to discard 1 card and you're going in disadvantage a lot there.
I think it's reasonable for Dirk to not have the Twin Twisters in the main, but he is now obviously getting punished for it quite a lot.
Oh, there's impermanence on the Hexatrude. He just wants to get space for some cards to set, I guess. Setting another impermanence, maybe? No, he does not have one. Oh, but apparently he's trying to do stuff. Oh, and look at it. I mean, our life points...
our life points are off track a bit, so it might be that this Hayate is enough. He's attacked with enough Hayates.
Yes, that is definitely game. So, players will go into sideboarding now, so we should definitely have a look how Dirk can potentially overcome the disadvantage he just had to face there.
So we were talking about Twin Twisters.
Yeah.
None in the main, but he has got 2 copies in the side deck. So we might see those come in.
I guess so. If you're playing with Striker, that's probably a good catch.
He has got Eradicators. So he could choose to go first with and try and resolve the Eradicator, because he's got Hextrude, very easy to summon. He's got a pile of big danger monsters, very easy to summon. So, if you're counting 6 dangers and the Gizmek doesn't have enough attack.
No,
but you've got 6 dangers and 3 castle.
And a bunch of draw cards to get into your stuff.
So it's very possible he could just rely on going first and drawing the Eradicator, but I don't see why you would go first.
Not really, no. So I mean, you have 2 cards for going second. You could side in the Twin Twisters, as you said. The rest of the sideboard not really useful versus the deck. I mean, you can side in, there can only be 1. It's okay versus Strike. You do it on the Hayate attack, and then he's stuck with Hayate, but it's not really good.
His side deck does look quite tailored to going first, because there's a lot of traps.
That's true.
So maybe he's doing this in anticipation of being made to go first after he's won a game.
Yeah.
I always feel very worried when I do things like this. If I'm playing a go second deck, can you really, really rely on your opponent to make you go
thinking that long, right?
Make you go first?
Yeah.
It's very strange. I've never been bold enough to take a deck where I'm going second.
Not at all.
I've never I don't think to like a big tournament taking a deck where I would go second off the dice roll given the choice.
Yeah. And I mean, if you play a go second deck, as you say, it really becomes a mind game at some point.
There's too many mind games.
Yeah.
I mean, most of it, again, for Dirk, you want to lose the dice roll.
Yeah, so your opponent
doesn't know that you've chosen to go second, unless they also want to go second, in which case you want to win the dice roll, which is what happened here. And that would have been a completely different game if Dirk had been going second.
Yeah,
almost
absolutely. Yeah, he had the desires, he had the Gren Maju,
he had a really strong hand.
He really could have OTK'd there very easily, you're right. And let's just look at the sideboard. I mean, what are you even sideboarding versus Gren Maju?
Ooh, this is a tricky one. So Jalop's probably, again, anticipating to go first, which is probably not something
I guess you have to anticipate it, definitely.
Yeah, but it might not be something you would anticipate with your side deck. Because...
Obviously you're not, yeah, right.
Yeah.
You will be made to go first a lot. Like, in your mind, you will be made going first a lot with a going second deck.
But, I mean, because the Sky Striker is not like your typical you have to go second. It's not
That's
obviously
right, yeah.
a go second deck. I mean, his is a bit because he's running Pancratops, but he's kind of fine. Like, Sky Striker don't mind waiting a turn before they can summon Pancratops. It's not like they...
You can set just
aiming.
some anchors and you're just safe to...
So maybe we'll see the Ghost Ogre to hit the Golden Castle. But other than that...
Yeah, right, because...
I don't know about there can be only one. I don't know about all the different types.
But I mean, the Ogre for the Golden Castle of Stromberg is kind of weird too, because you cannot really stop the search effect, because that's on activation, right?
Oh, it's on activation. Oh, I
would have guessed
Okay,
so,
he shouldn't do that then.
Yeah.
That would be a bad
I mean,
play.
okay, you can actually Ogre... You can probably Ogre the Banish effect,
Oh,
but...
that's fine, that's fine, that's fine.
That's not really the way to go.
Okay, it's an activation effect, is it? Okay, in that case, I don't know why he's side decking. Maybe he'll just play Lance, shotgun the Lance here.
So his opponent cannot activate Desires?
Can't activate Desires, can't activate Extravagance, can't summon Eater of Millions, can't summon Gizmek. Seems reasonable.
Yeah, it does.
There's a lot of cards which banish. It feels a bit weird to like have to shotgun the Lance here, but
it definitely does. And look, Dirk definitely having going second cards in his hand, so you will be going second here, because we already see the Phantasme.
Honestly, there's not enough cards in his side deck to side out all of his going second.
Yeah, oh yeah, you're absolutely right. And Phantasme is so amazing with strikers, you will have to keep that in.
You keep that in, yeah. But I agree, I think he's going to go second.
Yeah, and he has no traps in his hand, so that's kind of a point too. I mean, he maybe did just not draw into them. We see Guillaume opening Pancratops and Metal for Fusion.
Yeah, maybe
and also the
he
field
just
spell.
Didn't have enough cards to side. That is...
Ooh, and double it. I wanted to say
the
hand is really bad.
Because he's got double engage, which is amazing, and then the rest of his hand is awful.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, what are the cards you don't want to draw? World Dino Wrestling, both of his Foolish Barrel goods targets.
But I mean, let's see. Guillaume looks like his boarding actually...
Well, these are all cards in his main deck.
Yeah, but I mean, he kept in the Pancratops.
So Dirk did choose to go first.
Yeah, and so Guillaume actually won the mind game, because he kept his going second cards in, expecting to go second.
Like, again, I don't know. He
did the
had
right
enough
job
space to side it all out. This is all very confusing.
So we already see the Gilfer, the Phantom Bird, being used. So that can just be discarded to get out your Golden Castle of Stromberg.
Terraforming that.
Yeah, you have even more
only
terraforming.
For Golden Castle.
Yeah. You only have one terraforming left in the game because it's limited, but you have triple Gilfe. Or Glyph, rather.
Glyph the Phantom Bird.
Yeah. And there is Hexatrude. So is that going to be the same opening than last game? Because that wasn't really impressive for Guillaume at all.
It didn't work out very well.
So he's cutting. We see that he has Desires in his hand as well. So that could get him into some traps, maybe.
Yeah, so
hopefully
maybe
for
he's
him.
Decided in. I mean, it's a different kind of game now, because even if your opponent plays the mine, they just have to wait if they play the mine, so you can just draw eventually into your... Like, in the first game, you've got nothing.
Now let's take a quick look at his banished cards. I think there's one Eradicator already in.
And one Twin.
And one Twin as well. Okay, so
what is... That's 2 out
a
of
monster.
5 gone.
Oh, that's not a card. Yeah, we talked about that. He plays both pots, actually. He plays Pot of Duality and Pot of Extravagance. And drawing one with the other is always bad, because after Extravagance, you cannot resolve Desires anymore. And after Extravagance, you cannot resolve... No, and the other way around as well.
Yeah, you're only allowed one of any of them per turn.
Yeah. So, Guillaume shotgunning the Desires there.
Yeah, that seems fair. You might want to see if you can get 3 spells in your graveyard for Engage.
Yeah, but potentially you're just banishing all your targets for Engage then.
He can banish all his targets for Engage.
Yeah, but like the relevant ones. For example, Multi-Roll could be banished.
There's only one Multi-Roll now, so that's quite bold. But
did he even look at his banished cards? He just immediately shotguns the Foolish Burial Goods.
Well, he's got both of the targets in his hand, the usual ones, so...
Oh, yeah, you're right. What is he even standing there?
He's
has
just
2
putting
Engages as well.
a 3rd spell in his grave, right?
He must be, yeah. And look, he decides on reinforcement of the army. I think that's the first time I see that happening.
Yeah, it just puts 2 extra spells. It seems fine. It's a bootlegged upstart goblin, because it's going to draw him a card. I kind of agree with activating the Desires first, because because Engage can search so many things, you want to see what you draw and then choose what to search afterwards.
So that is more perfect for the situation you're coming up with the other 2 cards in hand.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose given there's only one multi-roll now, maybe you want to search the multi-roll.
And he actually was lucky. The multi-roll still was in the deck, so he could search it out
That
now.
was like the ideal outcome as well.
Absolutely.
And drawing into another engage, was that?
You're kidding me, right? He does not have triple engage in his first turn. I mean, it's kind of usual for Sky Strikers to resolve 3 engages in one turn, but just drawing them is really ridiculous.
He knows. He knows what the Golden Castle does.
Oh, yeah, definitely. He knows he has to get rid of the problem card first. Now he can freely go into his Sky Striker plays. These Sky Striker shenanigans that have been around for a while. Multi-roll. And the look on Guillaume's face actually suggests that he wasn't too happy with the situation. He was like taking his nose up like, oof.
2 engage. What am I going to do?
And now the Metal Fusion isn't even a bad draw because you can just pop it with the multi-roll. You can freely resolve all your spells from now on, and you will get an additional draw.
Yeah, Hextrude being shut off because there's no Golden Castle on the board.
Yeah.
So
no interruptions on that point.
It is Sky Striker, so you don't ever believe they can do 8,000. But if you're like a very competent player with Sky Striker, you've got to work out when you have enough resources to do 8,000. And the kind of time when your opponent has...
And when you actually activate the anchor, that's kind of an indicator that you have a lot of damage.
He's got a lot.
That's 3,000 and a bit.
So Ray does 1,500 plus whatever is summoned.
Yeah.
I don't think he's quite got the necessary... However many, I think you'd need 25 spells.
Yeah, but
for Kagari to be at 4,000.
He definitely has not that many spells yet. Oh, and there comes the Phantasme. So, I mean, even in a later stage of the game, if Dirk now draws into the Eradicator Virus and can actually get out a monster with it, that he can tribute summon for it, or tribute for it, the game could still go in his favor because he can just blow out all the spells. And Guillaume, without spells, is pretty blown up, I would say, as a Sky Striker player.
As a Sky Striker player with his 31.
Total of 31 dead cards in your...
If I'm honest, I probably would have rather... Oh, he attacked with Hextrude first. Oh, so he's not attacked with Hextrude. Yeah, I was going to say, I would rather he waited to see the Kagari in main phase 2 before summoning the Phantasme.
Why, though?
Because I know you want to shotgun the Phantasme, you just want to make sure it comes down. But you know your opponent's going to make Kagari.
Definitely.
So you may as well just summon the Phantasme, take 2,500. Like, take the... I think...
So you can at least keep the Phantasme
I would
on
much
board?
rather keep the Phantasme than...
Yeah, so you can actually prepare for...
Take 2,500.
For the anchor in your opponent's turn,
yeah,
right? So you can protect from that. That's actually pretty good of a point. And still, there is Mystic Mine in the hand of Guillaume. This time, he did not even need to activate it to completely break the board, the 2-card board of Dirk, which wasn't that impressive at all.
We kind of see a shift of gears, right? Because in the first game, he was just like, he's got one monster, I'll use mine. I know, it's much less likely he's going to have an answer to Mystic Mine, whereas in this game, he doesn't think mine by itself is going to be enough to win, so he's going to just take over the board with the Sky Striker cards instead. So it's good recognition. Like, Dirk's chosen to go first, he's probably going to have some blowout cards in his deck for doing so, because his deck is otherwise set up to go second.
Yeah, definitely. And Dirk will still see some more cards of his deck. He has Extravagance, he has Trade-In.
He has Trade-In, discarding Bigfoot, which is quite a nice combo.
True.
I would take discard 2 to draw 2 and destroy a card many days of the week.
Yeah, and you can actually pop the multi-roll then. So the recycling engine of Guillaume is gone. I don't know whether you see a lot of grind games from the Gren Maju deck, but
he has got the option to use Gizmek in his end phase as well.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm not sure, I mean...
Would you use it?
Well, the thing is, if you get it on the board, then you can do it again, depending if you have enough cards in your deck. Then you'd get 2 summons for the price of 1.
And also you get more cards being banished. So if you then at some point can summon the Gren Maju, that is even on a higher
I don't know if he's
attack.
actually got enough cards in his deck to do this, because he's banished 10. So that would be another 16.
Yeah, I think he should be fine.
But he chose not to do that. I mean, he can always discard the Gizmet.
But first of all, no rush, go into the Extravagance.
Take my extra deck.
6 cards being banished.
Just take it.
No, not only 3, we're going for 6. We're taking the whole draw 2 effect.
Has anyone used that for 3? Maybe it's if it's the 3rd one. I'm just interested to see the cards in his...
Oh, he drew into Twin Twister. Okay, that's Twin Twister.
Oh, that's
so
really strong.
Can actually OTK there because he can get rid of a lot of the back row from Guillaume.
Well, what's he? Has he got?
There it is.
Has he got the Gren though?
Not yet, but he can still draw with the trade-in.
Yeah. So and if he hits, he knows the only real point of interaction is the Packer.
Yeah, both cards that were set by the multi-wall are being banished right there. He actually drew into Hexatruder, which must be kind of a dead draw, because you cannot really special it from hand in any way. And now these two cards will be very important. And I think it was Gren Maju.
You think it was Gren? Oh, that's very exciting.
Oh, that is super exciting. And look at Dirk's face. He's holding it back a little, but all in all, he seems to be shaking a little. He already wants to slam it onto the table. First of all, he has Punk Rock to clear out the last back row as well, so he can go super safe if he wants to.
That is so cool. Are we going to see it? Are we going to see however big is this Gren?
That duel didn't look too good for him, but now it seems to shift in tempo, and that one card, Gren Maju to Asa, could just be a blowout card in this moment. Do what it's designed to do. Looks like the people, the judges, are not allowing him
I see.
to trigger the Bigfoot effect.
No, you're not allowed to draw any more cards after you activate.
Oh.
We were getting too excited.
Oh, no. And Dirk got too excited as well. He knew he had to find a way into his Gren Maju, but he forgot about Extravagance, restricting him from drawing cards for the rest of the turn. That is not very good for him.
Yeah.
Because it looked like such a good situation he's in, and now he's in a terrible situation because that one card he just drew with the trade and is just
was the one that was just going to win the game by itself.
Immediately.
So yeah, he's going to have to think a bit more. So has he already used the twin? Yeah, they're going to say he's already used the twin. So he's going to have to use Gizmek now and try and just take over the board with level 8s. So you are still allowed to use the effect of your danger monsters after even though you can't draw, which is a bit of a strange interaction.
The dangers have some strange rulings, that's true. You can actually activate the effects on a draw and block board.
You're allowed to activate
Fiend.
You can't activate them under Majesty's Fiend.
You can actually.
You mean Vanity's Fiend?
Yeah, obviously, yeah, of course.
So I'd be interested to see, because I don't really know what the justification for that is, but what if your opponent has Draw and Lockbird and Vanity's Fiend? Are you allowed to use them then? I don't know.
Look, he discards the Gizmek, which is a fine discard, but I mean, he has already one discard in play, so the second one always isn't very good. But at least he did not hit the Bigfoot, so Bigfoot can hit the field.
Exactly, I don't think he really wanted the discard and pop. I mean, popping multi-roll is not irrelevant, but it's not amazing.
Definitely not. And look at that. The monster that will be summoned by Ray cannot do too much. I mean, he can go into Kana, that takes that one attack, okay, but...
It's very annoying, that, isn't it? The Sky Striker's got this extra tool to make them even harder to put away. They're just like, so you know when you attack and the Ray comes back, that's one extra attack, and then it turns into Kana, so it actually takes out 3 attacks if you just want to try and attack over one Sky Striker monster.
Oh, and looks like he did not even want to waste another extra deck monster. He just took the attack on the Ray, took the damage from Bigfoot. I think it's a fine decision because that one less attack does not really change, because if Dirk is winning the game at some point, he's going to have a card that makes so much damage, so the attack of Bigfoot is not really relevant at all.
Yeah, it seems reasonable. I'm not.
And look at
how much. Yeah, I think it's just a
Guillaume
matter of
has 7 cards in hand
damage.
now. He had so many cards to play with.
Well, that is how Sky Striker work.
Yeah. So, and he
you
drew
don't
into
win
Metal
the game
Fusion
on the first turn, then you're in trouble.
Oh. He wants to allow Guillaume to actually summon Ray from the deck, but maybe by sending the reinforcement of the army with the Foolish Buried Goods, he told Dirk that there are no targets for the reinforcement of the army in the deck anymore, so Dirk doesn't have to fear the effect of Area Zero special summoning out Ray anymore.
And yeah, so he had the Ray in his hand. There's already one engraved, so I'd say there's a fairly good chance that there's no more left. So interestingly, if Guillaume banished his Hornet drones as well, which we don't know because we can't see the banished pile at the moment. But if he banished his Hornet drones, then this is his last monster, right?
Absolutely.
He has no more access to any Sky Striker monsters.
He has double Ray in his hand.
Oh, he has double Ray in his hand?
Yeah.
Oh, so he didn't actually banish any.
That's right, yeah. So all of them were in the hand. We just switched over to his cards in hand, so we know that he has more monsters to come.
Maybe he does.
Isn't
there one in the grave?
Look, he has one ogre. I think the one is not a Ray, it's an ogre. Or maybe it's just a really shiny Ray, like one of the Tin Rays or one of the Battle of Legend Rays. These are pretty cool. Yeah, but one is Ogre, right?
Oh, yeah.
One
Okay,
definitely
yeah.
is
Because
Ogre.
I was going to say, I was going to be confused about where the third ray was.
Actually, I think I saw Summon Limit being drawn by Dirk. A card that is not too popular versus Sky Striker deck at all.
No, I agree. I think that's a little strange.
I mean,
I'm not
you
really
can have
afraid of
him-
their monsters that much.
No, you can have him stick on Hayate,
Yep.
I guess, but
But
the
they just
next
summon
turn
Kagari
he
next
can
turn.
just summon his Kagari again. And yeah, it does not seem too powerful, I do have to agree. But maybe Dirk just had to struggle to find as many going first cards in his side deck because he knew he could not go second. And look at it, it's just being popped. The Summon Limit really doing nothing there.
Did Dirk choose not to attack?
There's Mine on the field, my
There
friend.
is Mine
Mystic
on the field.
Mine
Okay.
is back
yeah,
with
you
us.
don't do that much attacking under Mine. Okay, so he's gone for it again now.
Yeah,
Left
but
the Mine for a second.
look, we see one Widow Anchor being banished, and we did not see an aggressive play by Guillaume last turn, so I would actually think that there are more anchors in his banished pile, because last turn he could have probably gotten away into double anchor in some way to actually finish him off.
It's more limited now to be able to do that because you've only got one Kagari
Yeah,
to
of
get
course,
something back
of
from the
course.
grave. It's only got one multi-roll to get it back from the grave. So you might be right. It's
Yeah.
always that when you play Striker and they've activated that pot, you're always just hoping
Yeah.
that everything is banished.
Yeah, true.
You're just looking at it like,
And it
just
happens, it
maybe
happens.
he's
And-
banished everything else.
Look, there's a passing again, and the second time in a row, Dirk actually picks up Summon Limit as his draw for turn, sorry. But this time he uses Trade In first. He has a target to discard. Hex Intruder is being discarded. Oh, and look.
Another trade-in?
Yep, and another one
Just digging
he
for
can
this
discard
Eradicator?
as well.
So I'm guessing he's not banished all of his.
What is this? That is Eradicator.
That does look like it to
That
me.
is Eradicator.
And the Monster Reborn. Pretty strong.
That Eradicator. I think, what is the best line of play? You probably just set the Eradicator,
I think you
hope
set,
that it stays on board, and
you
then use
set
it in your
all
own
three.
turn, maybe?
Yeah.
So if you can keep the Eradicator until your own turn, you will be able to OTK pretty easily from there on.
If I was Dirk, I might have set the Monster Reborn as well. Oh, he left the Summon Limit in his hand.
Look at that Pancratops, and he uses the effect, so that's a gamble now, 50-50. Does he hit the Eradicator? He does not,
no.
it's another Summon Limit. Oh boy, and look, the judge also wants to see it. Did he really not hit the Eradicator? No, he did not.
If I'm Dirk, I think you just shotgun it, because you know your opponent's holding...
Oh, and the
Holding
crowd
the
is going
engage.
wild, the crowd is clapping. They're applauding for Dirk there. This blowout card versus Strikers, that was some kind of boxing move from
There's an
Guillaume there. He
awful
wants
lot
to
of cards
box.
that
He
go.
really does not like that. Oh, but that anchor might be enough already, right? Dirk is at 2,000 life points. Oh. He hold back with the anchor. And that anchor will actually be enough to finish him off. Because he has another Ray in his hand as well. And that definitely is... Oh no! Our graphics are off! That was Lancea and Ogre. No Ray at all.
Is he actually on 2,000?
I cannot tell you whether that's correct.
I mean, I get the feeling that Dirk would have conceded if he was. He's got a show for Eradicator, the card he drew. The Metal Phase Fusion.
Gizmag on
Into
the
Metal
wrong
Phase
side of the
Fusion.
table for Dirk at the moment.
What's he doing? Why has the Metal Phase Fusion not been discarded? Shouldn't it be discarded for Eradicator?
I think he shuffled it back and just
Oh, it's
immediately draw it again.
Yeah.
That's not what you want to draw of your Metal Fusion. Oh, and there is a second one Eradicator. He had both of them stacked onto his deck. He couldn't draw into them in time. It was a little too late, sadly. What a shame for Dirk. He had that very, very important and impactful going first card. Just a little too late. Here we are again. What a game it was. I think
Yeah?
I didn't expect it to be that grindy and to be that long, to be honest. I mean, it was a 2-0, okay. But still, we saw a lot of turns happening.
Yeah. I'm quite surprised about Dirk choosing to go first.
Me too. Maybe in testing he worked out that it's not the perfect way to go second versus
It might
Striker.
be against Striker in particular that he's choosing to go first. 'Cause it doesn't look like his deck was designed to be going second.
Yeah.
And maybe he actually did choose to go first in the first game if he knew what his opponent was playing. So Guillaume, quite a high-profile player, having won the French national championships. Maybe he knew, but
Potentially. I mean, there are some rank 8 exceed plays he could actually pull off going first turn 1, like Zombie Stein, for example. So there is potential for moves going first with the Golden Castle Stromberg deck. But is it really enough to justify going first when you have going second? Just all the blowout options.
Yeah. I'm gonna guess that Guillaume made him go first in the first game, and then in the second game he chose to, in the hopes of resolving an Eradicator. Not entirely convinced about the strategy of siding against Summon Limit.
Definitely not.
Against Sky Striker, I don't think you're really afraid of them summoning a barrage of monsters and doing that sort of stuff.
No,
I think you're more afraid
really
of them
afraid of
activating Mystic Mine.
Back row removal seems way more reasonable versus that deck. But still, we had a good featured match. Congratulations to Guillaume for winning it and still being undefeated in the tournament, I would say.
Exactly.
At the moment, he's just moving over to our interview lounge. So I already wanted to send you over, but we need another moment. And yeah, so maybe his success continues. He actually talked to JJ, said, yeah, I want to go for Worlds points this year. I want to be a Worlds competitor for my home country, for France, as Gabriel Sosi and Sami Bakar have been this year. So French players on the rise, as we already said. Maybe another French YCS winner coming up this weekend. At least he made a good showing here in this feature match. So, guys, I will hand you over to the winner's interview with JJ and our winner, Guillaume.
Now, Guillaume, you just had your match. You was all squared out and settled out. How did you feel about the matchup so far?
So it was quite stressful because it's the first time I was on a feature match that big. Yeah. So it was pretty impressive, but it's a good feeling. Yeah.
Okay, so you didn't really let the stress get to you during the match or anything like that. You kind of just like, okay, you know, I'm be in front of like a few hundred people on stream. You know, a few thousand people probably watching me on the screen. I'm just going to play my game and just see where that goes.
I was still a little stressful, yeah. So I think I did misplay, but not that much. But yeah, it was good still.
So you actually took Sky Strikers to the event. A lot of people kind of wrote off the deck because, you know, Thunder Dragons was making a comeback, is being very popularized again. Orcus having, you know, the first turn boards of Crescendo and like Dweller or Griffin into Imperial Order and stuff like that. Why did you still want to go with Sky Striker?
Because it's like 1 year since I started playing it, and I think it's quite the best deck because a lot of decks did cut back row removal in main deck, so Mystic Mine is really good in the format actually. And versus Orcus, it's like I won most of the game 1, like it's difficult to lose, and Game 2 and Game 3, it's the difficult one, but we can still win it. Yeah. And Thunder Dragon, it's a bad matchup, but it's popular, but not that much, so it's okay.
Okay, so you're saying like to all the Sky Striker players, more or less, it's like, you know, just play the deck. It's still pretty good. It's not bad. You know, you might have some pretty bad matchups currently, but, you know, nobody's really playing a lot of back row removal, and that might be the key to victory to your regionals, to YCSs.
That's it.
Well, thank you, Guillaume. Thank you for stopping by. You have been awesome. You guys have been awesome as well. And there will be more coverage after this.
New heroes arrive on the scene alongside popular cards from many Yu-Gi-Oh! Series. Discover powerful Link monsters and continue the search for more numbers. 5 cards per pack, each pack sold separately.
Hi, I'm here with World's Championship competitor Jake Quincy. How are you doing this weekend, Jake?
Yeah, I'm doing great, thanks, Tom. Just got here, nice area. I'm glad we're back in Brussels, Belgium. Yeah, it's nice, I'm excited.
So we're interviewing you to talk about your experience at the World Championships, but you had a really interesting path to qualification. Do you want to tell everyone about that?
Okay, so I decided to go for the Worlds race last year, and I thought I'd give it everything. And the whole season, every weekend, I planned every event I was going to play, competed every weekend in regionals and YCSs, and a few exceptions to America YCSs. And then I decided just keep going for it. And then at the very end of Nationals, I had to do well at Nationals to lock my spot. Luckily I did, and I overtook Tom Rose. And then the Friday of the tournament came for the playoffs, and I lost the first round. I bricked in a moment in a game where I didn't really want to brick in. I'd rather brick in a different tournament, because that's probably the second most important tournament I was going to play, because obviously Worlds is the most important one. And I got knocked out, devastated. I felt like the whole year was just wasted. And then, because I didn't, really think about it that much, I entered Euros, started with a 2-0 bye, which the Worlds race gave you as a prize. And I made the top 64. And then I had a really tough seed. I had to play Josh Schmidt, and then I had to play Durston in top 8, and then I managed to win in the top 8 to get my top 4 spot, which get the invite. And then I couldn't believe it. I was so relieved and excited. And then after that weekend, I was like, wow, what this is, I can't believe it. I've achieved what I've always wanted to do. So it was great.
That's a really good story. Like to miss out after spending the year and then to go ahead and qualify anyway. That's really cool. That actually happened as well in America, I think. So how was the experience of going to Worlds?
It honestly, amazing, incredible. Because so few players go, it's so prestigious to qualify for, and you really feel it when you're there. So, because 28 players in the Masters, in the TCG played, and then you had, I think 12 in the Dragon Duel and 20 in the Duel Links. So, very few players actually attend every year, but it is worth the effort. I mean, if you decide to do the Worlds race this year, which I recommend, if you decide you're going to do it, decide now and plan now, because if you do go through it and make it, you'll just want to relive it every year. The Worlds race is just a great opportunity to go to the World Championships, and I've been playing for so many years, and the main thing that's been really annoying and frustrating is there's only one event that used to be to qualify for Worlds, and that was just for Euros. And across the variants of one tournament, it's not really fair, especially at the end of the season. But now it's more realistic to go. So Worlds is incredible. I have 5-round Swiss. It's probably the most stacked Worlds there have been, arguably. Quite a lot of players said that. We had Galley, we had Schmidt, we had so many good players. It was insane. And then I had to play against previous world champion. I played against the guy who ended up winning, and it was great. I managed to finish first in Swiss, and I then lost in top 8, which is quite annoying. But it's nice though to do well in Worlds.
Sounds like you had a really good time. Are you going to try again?
I don't think I'm going to do the race this year. However, I would love to go to Worlds again. I've got a few other plans set in the planning right now. So the Worlds race right now isn't the right thing for me to do. But if it is the right thing, if you have got time in your hands to do it yourself, I'd do it now rather than later, because things may become a distraction in the future.
All right. Well, best of luck this weekend.
Thank you. Appreciate it.